Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm updating the League 2 table predictions. This is how I think the table will look come the end of this season. If you're a League 2 fan, if you support one of these teams, get your predictions down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Do make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hit that red button down below and let's get into this. We're going to be placing all 24 of the League 2 teams into this tier list from the top 3 all the way down to the bottom 2. Let's start with my bottom 2. It'll come as no surprise that first of all I'm going for Hartlepool, United and Rochdale. Now let's start with Hartlepool. They are currently bottom. It is the easy pick. They've picked up 12 points this season. How bad is that? They look so poor. They're well under a point per game. And I just don't see how they're going to turn it around. I just don't look at that squad and think they're going to be able to pull out these results because so far they've been so bad. And they need a lot of other teams to be really bad for them to get out of it. The only reason Hartlepool might be able to get out of it is only 2 go down. So maybe, but I'm going for them. And Rochdale, who to be honest are just above the bottom 2 at the time of recording this. But I am concerned for on the expected goals. They are 23rd. They've lost 12 games this season. So it doesn't look great for Rochdale. I'm going for them to go down with Hartlepool. Now then, moving on to my surviving category. So the teams I think that will beat the drop. Let's start with Gillingham. Now Gillingham are 23rd at the moment. They've only scored 6 goals, which I think is shocking. 6 goals. They're well under a goal per game. They're under a goal every 3 games, which is just astonishing. I do think they might just have enough to survive. Like their defence is one of the best down there. It seems to be the way they're playing. They're grafting for tight games and 0-0s and 1-0s. So I think they might just have a bit about them to survive, but no more than that. They've been really poor so far this season. I'm going to go for Colchester United next. Colchester United have lost 11 games this season. They don't look particularly great, but once again, I think they're a team that'll just limp over the line. I've not really been impressed, but I don't think they're going to be in that bottom 2 for me. I'm also going for Crawley Town. Crawley Town I'm quite concerned for. On the expected goals, they are down the bottom end of the table. It says they should be down there on the expected goals. In fact, bottom of the league. So they're not creating many chances. A lot of chances getting created against them. They've conceded 30 goals this season. Real worry for Crawley Town. Up next, I'm going to go for Harrogate. Harrogate so far this season have been okay, nothing special, but I don't think they'll go down. I think they're going to be in the surviving category for me. They're not in that bottom 2. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near that bad, but I don't see, based on what we've seen so far this season, how they're going to be able to push on much more than, say, 18th or so this season. And I'm also going to go for Sutton United. I don't see Sutton going down, but they've been better than this. I remember last season, you know, they pulled out some good results. So Sutton, a bit disappointing, but steady enough to survive. Maybe I could have nudged them into mid-table, but I'm going to put Sutton to finish around 17th or so this season. Moving on to my mid-table category, let's start with Newport County, who, to be honest, have been a bit of a letdown so far this season. They've had a slight climb in the recent games, but I've seen a lot of Newport fans very angry on social media. So, you know, considering how close they were to going up to League One a couple seasons ago, this has been a really underwhelming start to the season. I think, to be honest, mid-table would be a good achievement for Newport based on what we've seen so far. I'm also going to go for Crewe Alexandria. Now, Crewe so far this season they've been all right. They're 15th, back-to-back wins at the time of recording this, but do I see them really shooting up the table? Perhaps. There is still over half of the season to go, but I think there's just teams that look more hungry and more competitive this season. So I'm going to say Crewe will probably slide into mid-table. They've been okay, but yeah, recently back-to-back wins, so maybe a little climb for them coming. I'm also going to go for Grimsby Town. I do like Grimsby. It was good to see them back in the Football League. I think they'll finish mid-table and that wouldn't be a bad season. There's a few people at the start of the season which had quite high expectations for Grimsby. I think mid-table would be a good first season and something to build on after that. I think, you know, they're climatised and they came up through the playoffs. They were brilliant in the National League last year, but yeah, there is something about them. They've got a couple of good players, but at the moment they are in bad form. So I'm going to say mid-table for Grimsby Town. I'm also going to go for Salford City. Salford, to be honest, they're a bit higher than this in the table, so I think they might drop off a little bit. They've lost 4 of their last 6 games, so they are actually starting to trend down the table a little bit. And like I say, it's very competitive. There's a lot of teams in that mid-table bracket. They're trying to push into the top 7, so I could perhaps see Salford slipping down to about 12th or 13th. Next up, I'm going to go for Walsall. Walsall are actually in decent form at the time of recording this, so if I revisit this video in a couple weeks' time, I might push Walsall towards the top half. But at the moment, I'm going to say mid-table. But like I say, they're in good form, so they're a team to keep your eye on. So then, as we jump into the top half of the table, the teams that I think have an outside chance of making the playoffs, I'm going to start with Doncaster Rovers, who are, as a club, one of the teams that should be pushing up there. They're a big club, but for me, just a bit too inconsistent. They've got a couple of decent players, but nothing too special compared to some of the other teams in terms of the form. But like I say, they're a big club. They've got decent resources there, so maybe they could pull something out. If they could squeeze into that top 7 at the end of the season, that would be obviously something their fans will be happy with. But at the moment, I think they're probably a bit too inconsistent for me. So playoff chasers. I'm also going to go for Tranmere Rovers to be in the playoff chasers. Now, Tranmere haven't won in 8 games in all competitions, which is really, really worrying. They are starting to fall down the table. I could put them into the mid-table category, but I think they will recover in some way, shape or form. So I'm going to say they could probably battle for the playoffs, but they're not going to be one of the teams to make it, in my opinion. Next up, I'm going to go for Barrow, just missing out on the playoffs here. Now, at the moment, they are doing so well, and if they make the playoffs, I'll be so happy for them. But looking at the expected goals, it does look like they're slightly overperforming. So they're being clinical, obviously. They're taking the chances that come their way, but can they maintain it over the 46-game season? I don't think they will. I think they'll finish in the top half, but maybe not in that top 7. Let me know if you agree down below. I'm also going to go for Bradford City. Now, Bradford are a big club and, you know, for so many years now I've been saying they need to get back up. And at the start of the season, I did predict them to make the top 7. Now, they're in the top 7, but they're also overperforming on the expected goals. And that's something that always does ring true. At the end of the season, things level out a bit. I think I could see them slipping down the table just a couple of places, maybe finishing 8th or 9th. Bradford, big club. It'd be great to see them back in League One, but at the moment, I'm going to say they could just miss out. I think it's close, though, very close. And then in 8th place, I'm going to go for Stockport County. Now, Stockport County are in very good form at the moment, and they're 3rd on the expected goals, so they will not finish as low as they are at the moment. They're only going in one direction, and that is up the table. Had a bit of a slow start. I think we all had high expectations for Stockport, but maybe that got to them at the start. But do you know what? They've been brilliant. They've put things together, and they've started to move up the table. Very exciting. And if they get in the top 7, I think I'd want them to go up. It'd be a great story. I'm going to say they're going to be on the edge of the playoffs. So then, on to my top 7. I'm going to start with Carlisle United. Carlisle United are going to make the top 7 for me. They've been in that mix so far this season. They just need to hang out. I know there's a long way of the season to go, but as long as they're churning points on the board every so often. Unbeaten in 4 games, and they've scored 30 goals this season, which is something to write home about. That's very good from Carlisle United. I've got a friend who works for Carlisle, and he's been saying good things about them. Obviously, if they can keep players fit, they should be able to hang out in there. But look, it's so competitive. I'm going to say they're going to be that team that finish in 7th place. Next up, I'm going to go for AFC Wimbledon. Now, Wimbledon are really starting to motor up the division, and at the start of the season, I said they would make that top 7. I'm standing by it. I think Wimbledon will do it. It'd be great for them to do it. You know, I've got a soft spot for AFC Wimbledon and their fans. I like them. It's a good away day, new stadium and everything, but it's been a tricky start. They're starting to get moving. They're in great form, so I think they're a team that do it. Top 7 for AFC Wimbledon. I'm also going to go for Mansfield Town. Mansfield have been a bit inconsistent, but you look at the squad they've got and you think they're surely going to be able to at least get in that top 7. The top 3 do seem to be pulling away, but Mansfield have, like I say, got a good squad, great fan base, and they're very good on the expected goals. They're actually 4th on the expected goals table, so they're creating a lot of chances. The defence is fairly good. I think Mansfield, if they could just improve that form a bit, will be able to get in that top 7. I'll say about 5th place. Final team in the playoffs for me, I'm going to go with Swindon Town in 4th place. I've got no doubt about Swindon being in that top 7, just in which place it is for me, and I think it'll probably be about 4th. Like I say, the top 3 are pulling away, but Swindon Town for me are the team I'm going to keep my eye on, because if any of the top 3 fall off a bit, I could see Swindon certainly pushing them. They're currently 7th in the table. They've also got a good squad. They're showing up fairly good on the expected goals. So Swindon make the playoffs, and you know, we know Swindon Town are a team that can compete at this level. I think they might be able to return to League One. So then into my top 3, I'll start with Stevenage, who I'll go for in 3rd place. Stevenage have been brilliant. They've absolutely embarrassed me with my predictions. At the start of the season, a lot of people, even the bookies, didn't expect Stevenage to do very well. And they've gone and done the opposite. They're right at the top end and they're top of the expected goals, which is unbelievable. What a story if Stevenage get promoted. They're in a great position. I think they'll hold out. Third place. Second place, I'm going to give to Northampton Town. Northampton have been good so far this season. They've scored 34 goals. They're absolute monsters. And we all know how unfortunate it was for them last season. Absolute heartbreak to not get promoted via automatics or the playoffs. But this time around, I think Northampton will do it. They'll learn from experience. They've got a good fan base. They're going back to League One. Top of the table, I'm going for Leyton Orient. This is an easy one. Leyton Orient fans are very high on life right now. They're averaging 2.37 points per game. That is unbelievable. They could set records if they keep that up. There will be times where it's a bit tricky. They might hit a sticky patch of form, but they've given themselves such a head start that I can't see them not going up automatically. And I'm also going to go for them to win the league. Leyton Orient are going up. So then guys, let me know your thoughts down below. That wraps up my predictions. Get your predictions down below. Do make sure to hit that like button. Do make sure to hit the red subscribe button down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.